Weekend, baby. Thank you. Will you still say, I am God, in the presence of those who kill you, though you are but a man and no God in the hands of those who slay you? You shall die the death of uncircumcised by the hands of foreigners, for I have spoken, declares the Lord of God. For I have spoken. You were the signet of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God, every precious stone was your covering. Topaz and diamonds and onyx and jasper, sapphire, emerald, and crafted in gold were your settings and your engravings. On the day that you were created, they were prepared. You were anointed guardian cherub. I placed you. You were on the holy mountain of God. In the midst of the stones of the fire you walked. You were blameless in your ways. From the day you were created till unrighteousness was found in you. In the abundance of your trade, you were filled with violence in your midst, and you sinned. I cast you as a profane thing from the mountain of God, and I destroyed you from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was proud because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I cast you to the ground. I exposed you before kings to feast their eyes on you by the multitude of your iniquities in the unrighteousness of your trade. You profaned your sanctuary, so I brought fire out from your midst. It consumed you, and I turned you to ashes on the earth in the sight of all who saw you. All who know you among the peoples are appalled at you. You have come to a dreadful end and shall be no more forever. Behold, I am against you, and I will manifest my glory in your midst. And they shall know that I am the Lord when I execute judgments in her and manifest my holiness in her. For I will send pestilence into her and blood into her streets, and the slain shall fall in her midst by the sword that is against her on every side. Then they will know that I am the Lord.
Yeah. So this is Rooftop, Josean and Brandy.
Start podcast. I'm gonna release this on my Substack. Put it up here.
Okay.
I'm gonna release this on my Substack.
Okay.
For anyone that's tuning in, this is my first podcast. This is The Tornado in the Swamp, episode 1.
Shit's like fucking.
God, Josean.
Let me do it.
Let me do it.
Yeah.
This is Tornado in the Swamp. The tornado's already
good.
fucked up the fucking shit, and now we're here with Josean and the. Oh my God!
I'm telling
the
you,
tornado.
It's fucking It's fucking tilted. Okay, it's good now. I think actually.
Okay, enough of tornado talk. Let's start on the swamp talk.
So you were telling me you're a swamp, Brandy?
I was telling Josean that I'm a swamp. Because he said that my life is much like a river with a tornado in it right now. And I said, but I'm a swamp with a tornado in it. And New York is the river.
Yeah, New York's the river. And,
or is New York the tornado?
It's like a tornado river. It's like if you fuse a river, the flow of a river with the ferocity and disparate volatility of a tornado. That's what I feel like your being has been. You were like telling me you're going through extreme highs and extreme lows, and it's not like spread out. It's constantly like 5 different events in one day, 3 very terrible events, and then 2 very ecstatic events of radically different qualities, brutal qualities. And I don't know if, most people are going through that sort of fluctuation of spectrum.
Not to this extent. If you're out there and you're fucking going through what we're about to talk about, or we're not going to talk in detail about what I'm going about. This is more Josean's wisdom that I'm soaking in and sharing with you. But if you're going through or you relate to this, please reach out to me. Please. I would love to find someone that listens to my first podcast and they're like, bitch, yes, same. Reach out to me, because I feel extremely alone. That's maybe the only thing I've told my friends that I feel like aren't there for me right now is I feel isolated as fuck. Because the love of my life is across the country. And Sheba and you and Chris are pretty much like the people that haven't fucked up the tornado even more. So I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for whoever messages me. So message me, comment, like, subscribe. So I was asking Josean, usually I have the talent of looking at my life through the macro lens, getting out of the micro and understanding. But right now this tornado is fucking up my perspective. And I'm happy. I'm thinking that I'm just incredibly present because I have to be. But I need help understanding what's happening to me and what's going on. Or I wouldn't say happening to me, it's happening to me.
Mm-hmm. It's all these events, and it's very dizzying. Just quite simply, it probably feels very dizzying, and you feel like you have to embody yourself fully, or you're gonna be a fetal position version of yourself, and there's no like in between.
I don't think so. I think
Really?
I was already the fetal position myself when I was depressed in LA.
This is what I'm saying. There's no in between. Like I feel like, right? Yeah.
I'm bipolar. There is no in between.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why it can be hard to communicate with people right now, because you feel like you can't really.
I don't think that it's hard to communicate with people. I think people are having a hard time communicating with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because all they do is talk shit about me being on heroin, me being this, me being that, me being a cunt, me being that. And I'm like, bitch, say it to my face. What's the issue? And if you have something to say to me, like the tone of my voice, yeah, you're right. I don't want to hear it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have something where you're coming from understanding and you want to talk to me out of understanding, I'm open ears.
Mm-hmm.
But all the shit that's being spewed in my ear is not understanding. And right now, for the rest of the year, I need understanding or I will kill you. I will slit your throat. Metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
I've been saying metaphorically.
Not actually.
I've been saying metaphorically. My best friends can't even withhold a paper cut, and paper cut, in my opinion, is words.
Mm.
Because I have friends out there literally and physically asking me to punch them to get anger out, and my best friends can't even get a paper cut for me. And I don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling them to get the fuck away from me until this is done.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're using the tornado metaphor, and you have to think about what is a tornado, you know, and can everyone like truly like handle that when you are in tornado mode? There's taking it from a different perspective, not from your perspective, different perspective. There's pros and cons. It's like admiration for the force and like, you know, like the motion, but also like, you know, a tornado can feel like brutal, you know, it can, and from someone else's perspective. So like knowing that though, it's like you do have to be around those people.
You got to be around the Floridians that pull out their fold-out chair to watch the tornado for fun with popcorn. Because that's what we do in Florida, by the way. My family opens their garage, they pull out a fold-out chair, and they say, oh, look how pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Look how beautiful this is. That's the people I need right now. Not to sugarcoat things, but to say, yes, you are going through a mess. Yes, it is beautiful. Look at what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I need those people right now. And I do have those people. But anyone else needs to fuck off. For this year. I've told my best friend, I was like, if you can't handle this right now because you're from North Carolina and you've never seen a tornado, that's okay. But I'm telling you to go stay somewhere else. Go find another best friend for the rest of the year, because I will not be pleasant to be around if you don't like tornadoes. But I gotta let this storm ride. I'm not a storm Caesar, I'm a storm catcher. I catch it. It's in my hands. I have control. I'm not saying I was out of control when I got big corrected because of the last tornado, and I didn't know what to do. This is about the 4th tornado I've been through, and it's in my hands. No, it's in God's hands. And I am in God's hands with the tornado. That was made by God. So going back to the macro lens view, yeah, I mean, you came to New York, you've only been here like a week. I just want perspective. Not calling any names out, because this is a podcast now, clearly. My first episode. But just some perspective. As a swamp baby. Swamp baby.
I mean, you're gonna be going to Mexico and you're gonna be going to San Diego soon. I think, you know, I think environmentally, New York has its highs and lows, but it's probably suffocating right now. And I feel like you're gonna feel immensely better pretty immediately. And I think that's gonna help a bit. And you're gonna be one-on-one with someone that's intimate, and it's not going to be like a bunch of people. It's going to be more of an intimate, close thing. So I feel that's going to help out a lot. Someone that, you know, is on similar frequencies, or, you know, can like create emotional space for you to like fill in, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good. also like Mexico is gonna be nice rhythmically for you.
Being with my ancestors.
So in terms of like where you'll be at spatially, that's good. It doesn't feel like you're escaping. It feels like there's a purpose and there's like objectives and like, but I'd say make sure to try not to neglect any purpose that was in New York or in Florida or wherever, and find ways to integrate that.
No, baby, I'm up for hire remotely if you're hearing this.
Yes.
I'm still working. I'm making a documentary in Mexico. I'm making a feature film, traveling. I'm working.
Traveling is great, but it can also be very, it can fragment your being in a way.
I need that right now.
And yeah. But that's why I'm reinforcing to, just like in a soft way, you shouldn't think about it too much, but just in a soft reinforcement of like, just not forgetting, like whenever the time feels right to sort of like integrate a bit, and but can't really think about that. Just as a friend, just wanting to reinforce that, because I think again it's very easy to go, like I went to the cabin in New York because I'm from Florida, and it was very easy for me to just like, I could just forget everything and it'd feel better, but I was like no, and I would softly like reintegrate things.
I have nothing to forget.
Yeah.
If anything, I just am trying to make more memories.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I also feel like you're into a lot of things that take a lot of work and a lot of passion, and that's a lot of energy to
No,
invest.
I'm also investing it in the wrong people and the wrong events. And that was my lesson this month, is like, nah, I should be, it's crazy, like I feel underappreciated and underpaid, and then the next day I'm like working in Sorrenti's studio and working with Michael Imperioli in one day, like day and night. And then that was Spirit being like, oh yeah, this is your rhythm. This is your rhythm, this is your class, this is your worth. So don't forget it, because I just shoved it in your face.
I mean, I feel like rhythm and space is everything, and there are the two things that if we don't get right, it's easy to just start feeling dizzy, and we start losing clarity of that. But then once you're in Michael, what's his name, the photographer?
Mario Sorrenti.
When you were there, you could feel the rhythm, you could feel the space. When you were out of there, it wasn't like you knew that was gonna happen.
No, I didn't actually.
You were like,
quick little thing for like whoever's listening. I had no idea I was pulling up to Mario Sorrenti's house. It wasn't through my agency, by the way. They emailed me independently, and I showed up to this thing I thought was just a easy trade shoot, and it was fucking not what I thought. But anyway.
And you know, if you feel in your deep core that this is a pure rhythm, pure space, pure time, you know, then that's a healthy thing to follow, you know, and you don't want to feel fragmented in the sense of like you're in like a rhythm like that, and then you come back home and then you're just starting to feel crazy, and then you feel like, you know, so that's why I think like Mexico and San Diego is gonna be good, because I feel like you're gonna find like rhythm. You're gonna find you have someone who's a space, because people are spaces as well, you know. And yeah, that's good, yeah.
What does pastoral mean?
Pastoral is like countryside, but it's more of like a folky sort of like idyllic folky countryside. There's pastoral poetry.
Listening to a piano and a trumpet mix it up on the radio. The express purpose of existence remains unsolved. All 6 cats are asleep now. 12:30 a.m. My wife is across the street visiting with a neighbor lady. Good, they need it. The racetrack was closed today, and I was a lost fat butterfly. Most days go nowhere, but the avoidance of pain and disillusion are lovely. They will arrive soon enough. Recharge, valiant, evermost. Now there is a chorus on the radio. They sing to me as I clean my fingernails with a toothpick. No thunder tonight, no tiger roaring in my brain. I am resting. I rub my face with my fingers. I am waiting for war. The centuries have trained me well. I lean back in the chair and smile to myself, for everything, for nothing. This is absolutely great. This is as good as it's ever going to get.
That's it. What is it?
Read that one.
This one? Storm? A storm at last in this damned Los Angeles desert. Even the lights went out in the neighborhood.
Louder.
A storm at last in this damned Los Angeles desert. Even the lights went out in the neighborhood. Most of the people asleep. The drunks just pour another drink. I poured another drink. 1:42 a.m. The lights go back on. Brahms begins to play on the radio again. I think of Turgenev just for the hell of it, just because I like his name. There are good names. Mozart, Celine, Artaud, Bach. Some names ring through and stick. Anyhow, it's raining and raining and raining, and Joe Louis is dead, and Ty Cobb is dead, and it's been a long time since the Wayner brothers patrolled the outfield in Pittsburgh. And whatever happened to Smith brothers' cough drops, I used to eat them like candy. We need the rain. We need the rain. We need it. I used to eat those cough drops like candy, and I had a dot and dash set, and I knew the Morse code, and I came out SOSs for years, but help never came. Turgenev. I wish my name was Turgenev. Hello, I am Ivan Turgenev, and it is raining, and I'm writing about the rain. It rains hard here in Russia, and the nights are black, and the days are black, and my girlfriend keeps telling me about our leader who has arcing eyebrows. And I say, oh yes, very interesting. My name is Turgenev, and it's raining, and we need the rain. Ran into Gorky the other day, and he said, rain was just so much capitalist bullshit. Crazy guy, crazy. Well, it's 1:58 a.m., and I am sleepy. Sleeping in the rain helps me forget things like, I am going to die, and you are going to die, and the cats are going to die. But it's still good to stretch out and know you have arms and feet and a head, hands, all the parts, even eyes to close once more. It really helps to know these things, to know your advantages and your limitations. But why do the cats have to die? I think that the world should be full of cats and full of rain. That is all. Just cats and rain, rain and cats. Very nice. Good night.
I feel like this betting on the muse is all the answers we need. See what else I could flip it open to. It's difficult for them. Some university professors find me crude, crass, obvious, repetitive, and pornographic. And I often am. I sometimes deliberately am. But this should not concern them. They have their friends, their compatriots, their peers, writing the posies, which they find admirable, but why they rage against me and their critical essays is what I find strange. Now, I don't like their work either, find it pale, contrived, overworked, and a century behind the times, but I don't attack them critically. I just stop reading them. And I don't hate them. I don't care how many books they publish or who does or doesn't read them, yet they are very concerned about my existence and my large readership, and almost hysterically upset that in some places I'm accepted as an original writer of some power. I tend to ignore this. Why can't they? If they want their place in literary history, fine, they can have it. I don't give a fuck. All I want to do is my work anyway. I choose to do it. All I want is the next line and the line after that. What they do and who they are and what they want and what they say they want, they write, has no interest for me, and unfortunately for them, no interest to most others living, dying, or about to be born. This is our Charles Bukowski horoscope as we close up our first podcast. We'll do it a couple more rounds. Past the Bukowski blunt.
One more.
This is our Bukowski blunt.
Bukowski blunt. 2.
You can do as many as you want, but you have to flip to it. Flip to the blank.
Okay. I'm gonna do just this, a short one. The pleasures of the damned are limited to brief moments of happiness, like the eyes and the look of a dog, like a square of wax, like a fire taking the city hall, the county, the continent, like fire taking the hair of maidens and monsters, and hawks buzzing in peach trees, the sea running between their claws, time, drunk and damp, everything burning, everything wet, everything fine.
That one's good.
Her shoes
No, it's
themselves.
right.
Which one?
Confessions of a Coward.
Confessions
What
of
are
a
the
Coward.
Confessions of a Coward?
This is a whole novel. Okay. I'll read the.
Just read the lines that stick out while I roll this cigarello.
And Henry was poor, and worthless, and miserable, and sick.
Same.
God, she thought, lying in bed naked and rereading Outington's Portrait of a Genius, but he's an imposter.
What's the next line after that one?
Not D.H. Lawrence, but her husband, Henry, with his bauble of a belly, and all the hair he never combed, and the way he stood around in his shorts, and the way he stood naked before the window, like an Arabian, and howled. And he told her that he was turning into a toad, and that he wanted to buy a Buddha, and that he wanted to be old and drown in the sea, and that he was going to grow a beard, and that he felt as if he was turning into a woman. And Henry was poor and worthless and miserable and sick, and he wanted to join the Maller Society. His breath was bad, his father was insane, and his mother was dying of cancer. And besides all this, the weather was hot as hell.
Okay, sorry, didn't mean to burn you.
Alright, good.
I guess I'll finish up with a couple. Traffic report. Here in Los Angeles on the freeways, it's like the Wild West again. Many of the drivers carry guns, and if you cut them off or irritate them in any manner with your driving, they will simply pull up, point their guns, and begin firing. Life has gotten to be too much for many of us out here. The razor's edge is always up, and any slight as it might be becomes the ultimate and final challenge. Many wait for it, many even hope for it. But out of all of it, something else has emerged. Far more polite driving habits. Who the hell wants to catch a .32 caliber bullet in order to gain 3 car lengths in a heavy traffic? Me? I'm so polite, I'd make a nun puke. I prefer to die by my own hand. And my madness. We're gonna finish this episode number 1. Swamp Talk with Josean with my madness. Our madness, we'll call it. Ready? There are degrees of madness, and the madder you are, the more obvious it will be to other people. Most of my life, I have hidden my madness within myself, but it is there. For instance, some people will be speaking to me of this or that, and while this person is boring me with their stale generalities, I will imagine this person with his or her hand resting on a block of the guillotine. Or I will imagine them in a huge frying pan, frying away as they look at me with their frightened eyes. In actual situations such as these, I would most probably attempt to rescue, but while they are speaking to me, I can't help imagining them thus. Or, in a milder mood, I might envision them on a bicycle riding swiftly away from me. I simply have problems with human beings. Animals I love, they do not lie and seldom attempt to attack you. At times they may be crafty, but this is allowable. Why? Most of my young and middle-aged life was spent in tiny rooms, huddled there, staring at walls, the torn shades, the knobs on dresser drawers. I was aware of the female and desired her, but I didn't want to jump through all the hoops to get her. I was aware of money, but again, like with the female, I did not want to do the things needed to get it. All I wanted was enough for a room and for something to drink. I drank alone, usually on a bed, with all the shades pulled. At times I went to the bars to check out the species, but the species remained the same. Not much, and often far less than that. In the cities I checked out the libraries, book after book. Few of the books said anything to me. They were mostly dust in my mouth, sand in my mind. None of it related to me or how I felt. Where I was, nowhere. What I had, nothing. And what I wanted, nothing. The books of the century only compounded the mystery of having a name, a body, walking around, talking, doing things. Nobody seemed stuck with my particular madness. In some of the bars I became violent. There were alley fights, many of which I lost, but I wasn't fighting anybody in particular. I wasn't angry. I just couldn't understand people. What they were, what they did, how they looked. I was in and out of jail. I was evicted from my rooms. I slept on park benches in graveyards. I was confused, but I was not unhappy. I was not vicious. I just couldn't make anything out of what there was. My violence was against the obvious trap. I was screaming and they didn't understand. And even in the most violent fights, I would look at my opponent and think, why is he angry? He wants to kill me. Then I'd have to throw punches to get the beast off me. People have no sense of humor. They are so fucking serious about themselves. Somewhere along the way, and I have no idea where it came from, I got to thinking maybe I should be a writer. Maybe I should be a writer. Maybe I can put down the words that I haven't read. Maybe by doing that I can get this tiger off my back. And so I started, and decades rolled by without much luck. Now I was a mad writer. More rooms, more cities. I sunk lower and lower, freezing one time in Atlanta in a tar paper shack, living in a $1.25 a week. No plumbing, no light, no heat. I sat freezing in my California shirt. And one morning I found a small pencil stub and I began writing poems in the margins of old newspapers on the floor. I'm gonna just pause to say there is a whole bunch of newspapers waiting to be written on my floor. Finally, at the age 24, my first book appeared. A small chapbook of poems, Flower, Fist, and Bee-Style Whale. The package of books had arrived in the mail, and I opened the package, and here were the little chapbooks. They spilled on the sidewalk, all the little books, and I knelt down among them. I was on my knees, and I picked up Flower, Fist, and I kissed it. That was 3 years ago. I'm still writing. In the first 4 months this year, I have written 250 poems. I still feel the madness rushing through me, but I still haven't gotten the word down the way I want it. The tiger is still on my back. I will die with that son of a bitch on my back, but I've given him a fight. And if there's anybody out there who feels crazy enough to want to become a writer, I'd say go ahead. Spit in the eye of the sun. Hit those keys. It's the best madness going. The centuries need help. The species cry for light and gamble and laughter. Give it to them. There are enough words for all of us.